Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nova Sharif. I'm from class 1A from Business Digital major. Today uh, I will telling short story about the Lighthouse Keeper. On the edge of a rocky cliff, facing the violent winds of the North Atlantic, stood an old weather-worn lighthouse. For over 30 years, it has been maintained by one man, Elias Marsh, a quiet, solitary figure in his 60s with a thick beard and eyes like storm clouds. Elias had no family, no friends, and few visitors. He kept to his routines, cleaned the lands, polished the railings, locked the water, and watched the sea. People in the nearby village often whispered about him. Some said he was once a sailor who lost his crew in a storm. Others claim he was running from something darker, but no one really knew the truth, and Elias preferred it that way. One cold October morning, as Elias did his rounds, he spotted something strange through his spyglass. A small robot, empty, drifting near the rocks, no oars, no flag, no one inside. When he climbed down to the shore to pull it in, he found a single red scarf tangled on the seat and water pooled at the bottom. The boat looked freshly used, but there were no signs of a passenger, no footprints, no belongings, no name on the hull. That night, the lighthouse flickered. The power surged briefly and Elias heard something odd, a knock at the tower door. When he opened it, no one was there, except for the same red scarf, now lying neatly folded on the step. Disturbed but curious, Elias proved the scarf inside. It smelled of salt and rose petals. That night he had a dream. A girl, no older than 20, in a red dress, was standing on the cliffs, her back to him, facing the stormy ocean. He woke in his suite. That following day, the fog rolled in thick. Elias could barely see the wave from the tower, but around noon he heard singing, soft, broken, like a lullaby. He followed the voice, descending the spiral staircase, through the cold stone corridors of the tower. The sound led him to the supply room. The door cracked open slowly. Nothing, just silence, then a whisper. Why didn't you come back, Elias? His knees weakened. The voice, it wasn't imagined. It was familiar, long buried. That night, Elias unlocked a trunk he hadn't touched in 25 years. Inside, an old photograph of a young woman named Margaret, wearing the same red scarf. Her face was soft, smiling, with eyes that once trusted him. Years ago, they had planned to live together. She had waited at the harbor, and Elias, cowardly, ashamed, had never shown up. He stayed in the lighthouse, choosing isolation over heartbreak. Days later, she disappeared. Her body was never found. Now the boat, the scarf, the dreams, Elias finally understood. The sea wasn't punishing him, it was calling him to remember. At town, Elias left the tower unlocked. He wore his old sailor's coat and placed Margaret's photo gently inside his coat pocket. He walked down to the same shore where he once ran from his guilt. The red scarf was waiting again, this time tied to the bow of the same boat. He stepped inside. The sea was calm. No wind, no sound. The fog lifted just enough for him to see the horizon. They say the lighthouse stopped working that morning. The Coast Guard came, but found no sign of Elias, only the red scarf of the rocks, fluttering softly in the wind. But villagers swear that on some night when the fog is thick and the tide is high, You can still hear singing from the cliffs and see two figures standing side by side, watching the sea together at last. Finn, thank you for the story.